Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
So, 2 weeks ago, we were dog sitting, and Mrs. Twos, at the end of it, said, "Oh, you know what? This is great. I like dog sitting every once in a while because it reminds me that above all else, I definitively do not want a second dog." And then, literally 5 days later, she went to sleep 5 times. And then we got this little munchkin. 5 days after being like, nope, this is too much. It's too crazy. 5 days, and now we got this. Can you say hi? Okay. All right. So anyway, yeah. 5 days.
How's everybody doing? Okay, so first off and foremost, to anyone tuning in, me and Twos are trying out a new system. We've been having nothing but issues with StreamYard, right? We haven't had a good. We've had like one good stream in the
We've
last.
had good streams, but we've had technical difficulties
in the last 5. I would say on each one of the last 5. So me and Twos talked about it. We ran through a new platform a couple nights ago, right? So there's gonna be some pain today, folks. There's already been pain. Twos has been causing me pain. Cool little dog though. What did you name him? Rebel. Oh yeah. So great. I'm happy for you. Twos has been annoying me all morning. If you saw the document today, folks, of Mashup 194, the last, I don't even know, the last 40 minutes of the show, I'm as blind as you. There was no way to keep up with Twos this morning. I was ready. I almost called you. I literally had your phone down. I'm like, nope, just keep reading. Put my phone back. I'm like, I don't know what Twos is doing this morning, but he is causing Sean nothing but gray hairs. Look at him. He's already changing my...
What?
I know what you...
What's up?
Mashup 194.
What
Twos
for those of us
going to be an asshat
for people,
all day
long. For people listening and not watching,
what's happening.
What are you upset about?
You can see it. I can see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but people listening can't see it.
That's too bad for them, Twos.
Well, what is going on that they're not seeing?
I'm so annoyed. It's not even funny.
Okay. Before we get too far into things, some, in the sort of corrections area, the problem with doing upwards of 200 mashups, let alone everything else over the years, stuff kind of just gets lost in the fold. And so 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the taxpayer acknowledgement and how wonderful it is and how glorious it is and what a great original idea. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Twos is an idiot because he had completely forgotten that this happened like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And so for those of you who don't know, Jagmeet Singh used to be the leader of the NDP party until he had what I would say is probably the most abrupt departure from politics since JFK. Before the rest of this press conference, I would like to make a brief acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge my pension, paid for with the traditional and ancestral taxpayer money of Canadians. I sit here in the unseated front of my Maserati Levante, admiring its strong culture of leather seats, rain-sensing wipers, and individually adjustable ball warmers. This pension represents the severed connection between hard-working Canadians and the money to buy their kids groceries. So yeah, anyways.
Can we just say Twos is having fun on the new platform? Okay. This is Twos is in his Candyland right now. Right. Like this is welcome to 194, where it is going to be complete dysfunction the entire time.
Well, also we've got a hard stop at 11:30.
Great. For the audience member watching right now, We want to know how this sounds, how it looks, everything, because right now, at least, we're not having any technical difficulties other than the ones we've imposed on ourselves. So Mashup 194, we're coming in hot today. Like, share, comment on Kevin chiming in already. All right. Yeah. My Mashup shirt doesn't do that. I'm very jealous. I think we're all very jealous. Shout out to Kyle for creating that.
Which is like my favorite thing that's ever been done with AI.
Oh, man. Okay, Mashup 194. Let's get this. If we got a hard stop, let's get this show on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Happy Airborne Friday to all the military boys out there. And if you're watching, make sure, like Tooz is going to be doing this all time. He's going to be. We're messing with things.
Testing. We're function testing.
We function tested a couple nights ago, folks. But Tooz is going to do it all show long. This is going on. We're.
So happy Airborne Friday.
If you came here for the professional show that we have become, the award-winning show that we've become, you're in for a ride today. 195. We're learning new things. Yes, but if you're enjoying the show, share it out there, folks. Okay, we rely heavily on you guys to continue to push us out because, I mean, we've been walking through. I've been having different people. I think I talked about this last week too.
Yeah,
where they try and search us out and they can't find us. I'm like, you think that's by design? Probably. Okay. Coots 6.5. All right. You got the non-citizen high-risk offender arrested yet again in Guelph. Do you want to show his picture? I've left this entirely on you and your screen. I just exited out of everything. I'm so annoyed with Tooz. I just not showing anything today. There he is. There he is.
I mean, just imagine you're the judge and you look this man in the eye and decide that, we should definitely let him out. You just look him right in the eyes, right in those totally normal, not psycho, not crazy, just completely normal eyes. And you say, you know what? He's probably good. It's probably fine. Okay, this is a guy who in July of 2025 got rearrested in less than 24 hours. And at February 2nd, 2026, he was rearrested within 2 hours. Okay? So high-risk offender. This is, and just so in case you're wondering, that one weird picture, it's not an outlier. This is just, he is like the opposite of Earl Hickey. This is just what he looks like. This is the guy. And you're like, it's so weird that this high-risk offender with a violent past keeps getting arrested. Nobody could have seen this coming. Who could have known?
Can I just say, Tooz is actually rolling with like the show in the back. I like this too. I'm just sitting back this morning. You're taking all my anger away. All right. People are like, lighten up, Sean. All right. I'm trying to lighten up. Tooz is doing a little back work here. I don't mind this. You know how many times he couldn't figure out how to do the music on StreamYard? It's like wild. All right. You got the Nanaimo piece. RCMP arrested family driving home. Can somebody walk me through this actually happened?
Okay. There was an empty packet of cigarettes that did not have the excise tax stamp on it. And then because there was no excise tax stamp on it, they're illegal cigarettes. Although here's the thing is that first off, it's an empty pack of cigarettes. And secondly, you could take that sticker off at any point. It's not like it's on there forever. We deal with that at the vape store where they just kind of get stuck on there and then they half fall off. And we get like, okay, well, let's make sure it goes back on just in case somebody comes by and wants to take a look at it. And they arrested the whole damn family, the whole family.
Yeah,
over an empty pack. They could have just picked it up. It could have just been that they were being good Samaritans, just saying, hey, you know what? You know what would be good? Oh, we're just going to clean up our community. And this is what happens.
Judge grants leniency for Toronto crack dealer because of his 9 children and his race. A Toronto crack cocaine dealer caught back in business 3 times over the course of 10 months managed to convince the judge that he deserves some leniency because putting him behind bars would mean hardship for his 9 children, but not because he's addicted to the drugs he was caught peddling. That's Lloyd Williams, Ontario.
Yep. Williams identifies as both Black and Micmac. The Black Micmac. That sounds like something McDonald's is going to come out with for February. Anyway, though he couldn't prove the latter, the judge was satisfied Williams has established a connection to Indigenous ancestry. So he said, I need leniency because not only am I Black, but I'm also First Nations. Okay, well, can you prove it? No. Okay, but we're just going to take your word for it. And that's it.
All right. We got a whole bunch here on Alberta, the independence talks. Okay, first, we'll start with Daniel Smith, I think. That's where you want to start?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Daniel Smith's message to separatist Albertans, give me some time. Smith says she takes separatist sentiment in Alberta seriously. She says other political leaders in Canada should take it seriously as well. They should take it seriously. I've taken it seriously. That's why I've taken the steps I have. That's why I've tried to work with the Prime Minister and why I've encouraged him to move very quickly on what I've identified as hotspots for Albertans. Smith will not slam those who are fed up, so fed up they're looking for Alberta separatist option. Rather than criticize those who have really deep-seated hurt feelings, genuine hurt over the last 10 years, there's no point in condemning that group. Let's take it seriously. But the Alberta Premier had a few words to pass on those who would vote yes to separation on a referendum ballot because they want to send a strong message to Ottawa. These folks may not actually want Alberta to split from Canada, but they are disgusted with Ottawa's treatment of the province and feel a yes to separation might wake up the folks down east. Sometimes you can overreact, says Smith. People overcorrected because they were made in the 2015 election and got a surprise government. I don't want people to send a message and overcorrect and then end up with a result that wasn't expected.
I'm not trying to send a message to Ottawa. I don't really care what Ottawa says or thinks at this point. Just done with it. You know, like I said last week, like what would I say to Mark Carney if I could sit across the table from him? Literally nothing.
Being a Canadian patriot doesn't mean being a doormat. That's Damien Carrick, former Conservative MP for Battle River Crowfoot. Whether you're in a coffee shop in Battle River Crowfoot, on a rig site near Grand Prairie, or in a small town diner just north of the 49th parallel, you'll likely hear people say they are done with Canada, but as soon as that word separation is whispered, distant elites and the online mob pounce with labels like traitor or MAGA. The reality is that these are real people with real lives who have simply reached their breaking point. Calling them names is cheap and only pushes folks further away, and don't be so sure that your neighbor isn't a quiet separatist. Usually when an Albertan talks about walking away, they aren't doing it because they hate Canada. They're doing it because they feel like the Canada they love has left them. Labeling that frustration as disloyalty is exactly why there are sparks of separatism. You can't tell someone they belong in the family while you're busy pushing them out the door.
That's pretty fair. That's the one thing that, on one hand, I'm kind of disappointed we haven't seen more of. But on the other hand, hey, you know what? So I guess, let me frame this. I'm surprised there hasn't been more reasoned and nuanced discussions about why Western Canada has been pushed to this place.
Point.
And we're here. We're there. All right. Well, instead of just saying we're dicks for not liking the situation, you're like, well, how did they get there? What drove them to that point? What is their perspective on this? Why do they feel this way? And granted, this is the guy who absconded from his riding in Battle River Crowfoot so that Polyev could take it over for one election cycle, and he's going to go back to it later, which, again, you cost the taxpayers a few $1 million for just a temporary placeholder, and you wonder why we're just so fed up with everything federal. But at the same time, I on the one hand, I appreciate the fact that he's doing it, but on the other hand, the fewer discussions like this that happen, the more people who are on the fence are going to be like, look, you're calling me a jerk for not being happy with this shitty situation? Well, screw you. And yeah, there's going to be more signatures if conversations like this don't start happening.
in the background is your puppy chewing on a toy?
Yep.
Well, a dose of separation talk with Rebel the puppy chewing on a toy. That's how Mashup 194 is going. You want to show the Sean Fraser video
Yeah,
or
sure.
the TikTok marketing consultant or both?
Both.
Judiciary who's able to make decisions without fear or favor amongst those who have the power to appoint or, in theory, remove a judge from the bench.
Well, that's interesting. That's a very interesting thing when you also look at what the guy's talking about here, Sean Fraser is talking about here, is the fact that Danielle Smith wants Alberta to have a say in who gets appointed as judges. And they're saying, well, it can't be political. Well, no matter what, you've got some politician making that decision, whether it's federal or provincial, and always default to the smaller government, right? But in this case, it's really interesting because, according to the National Post, August 9th, 2023, 76.3% of judges donating to parties, or 76.3% of appointed judges donated to the Liberal Party. Isn't that funny?
Twos, can you do me a favor? Can you hide? You see in the bottom of the screen it says Studio Restream is sharing your. Can you hide that?
Studio. Oh, yep. This.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
That was gonna bug me all day long. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. You want to show the TikTok?
Yes, which TikTok? There's a couple.
Marketing consultant says
yep.
redneck Alberta separatists are driving a Nashville client out of Calgary.
Yeah. And then so Cosman points out, let's see who her clients are: a neuro-inclusive consulting firm, an event planner, and an online coach. Here's the video though, and I'm probably going to show most of it.
Movement has nothing to do with you, then listen the fuck up. I live in Alberta and I work in branding and in marketing. And when I tell you that I just got off the phone with a client,
I just want to point out the fact that whenever they do these videos, they're just so fucking smug. Like there's no sense of, having a reasonable conversation. They just look fucking crazy. Like you could just smell the crazy coming off of them, or maybe the dog peed. But either way,
rolling back their marketing, and they are shifting their home base for their national company. They're talking about moving it away from Calgary.
Oh no. A company is talking about moving away from Calgary because the instability. Wait.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of business are they in?
Instability of the Alberta political climate and the way that their major donors and their major supporters are getting spooked and not wanting to invest because of this. So
they're not customers. They don't get their money from customers or clients. They get it from donors. This isn't a business. This isn't a business we're talking about here. Whatever this is, it's not an actual business.
They're starting to move away and host meetings elsewhere outside of Alberta. So if you think those bunch of rednecks are not doing anything, then I suggest you have some serious conversations with the people around you to make sure that they understand. So
whatever business this is, I imagine it probably fits in well with the neuro-inclusive consulting firm, an event planner, and an online coach. And I'm guessing that it's probably something pushing a really dumb agenda.
Well, the thing about businesses leaving, right? So
that's not a business. That's not a business. If they don't get their money from customers or clients or anything like that, if they get their money from donors, which is what she explicitly said, that's not a business.
All I was going to say is if you talk to our audience and in my talks with people running big business, there has been a mass exodus and people planning their way out of this. So you can go,
planning their way out of Canada.
Instability. Yes. The instability of the independence movement's making businesses move out. Oh, sure. You don't get this. They're already going anyways. So, yeah. Okay. Economics professor on costs of Alberta separation. It would plunge. That was the answer from an economics professor, Moshi Lander, on what the situation would be like if Alberta became an independent nation. You need border control. We still need border control, which means you're going to need to have some sort of army. But we need that too. Anyways. You're going to have your provincial police force. We need that. Anyways, you're going to have a passport. You're going to have a central bank. You're going to need diplomatic corps, said Lander on Tuesday morning, CTV in Edmonton.
Yeah. So first off, as far as it being an economic catastrophe, the ink is barely dry on the $20.5 billion of investment that was announced last week amongst two different projects in Alberta. So there's that telling you that you're fucking wrong. And first off, if we're going to talk about our military spending, and I mean, he says it right here, you're going to be immediately landlocked. Do you know what landlocked countries don't have to fucking have? Battleships, aircraft carriers, submarines. In your own argument, you're pointing out the fact that we're going to be saving a ton of money on national defense.
I liked Keith Wilson. Keith Wilson had a video earlier this week. I think it was earlier this week.
Okay.
He was talking about the landlocked. He's like, we already are landlocked. We're landlocked as we sit right now. And he was talking about policy landlocked. Yeah. He put it very succinctly, and as Tooz will do, Tooz will say he said it first. Fair enough. He put it in a nice way where it's like, we're already landlocked. We can't get anything out to the West Coast. Why? Because they don't want it. So we're already landlocked. So why are we fighting over what it's going to have when we're landlocked, folks? Okay, fair enough. Is there no other country in the world that has ever been landlocked and not been successful?
Oh, probably.
Well, Switzerland would be one that I can think of off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are many others.
Mongolia.
Just throwing that out there.
Well, the what's that? Oh shoot, what's that country they named after you? In South America.
What country, Tooz?
Uruguay.
Anything else? Oh my goodness. Do you want to talk about? Do you want to flip to
Liechtenstein? Liechtenstein. Dude, you're not even going to go with Liechtenstein. Come on.
You know what I'm happy about this week? I don't know if anybody else sees it, but I actually seen here too. You're not glitching. I'm already liking the new platform just for that. I can actually hear and laugh at some of your jokes. Do you want to talk Glencore, or do you want to push that to the end of this? Because it was right in the middle.
We're gonna do Glencore. I gotta find it again here. Yeah, Glencore halts major Quebec smelter investment over emissions rules dispute. Okay, so in the middle of saying, oh, well, there's going to be all this capital fleeing if you want to leave Canada. Meanwhile, here's a perfect example of what you were talking about, where capital is leaving Canada because the country is a shit show.
I agree, Carrie Ann. The stream is great. We may have found the new home for where we're going to be streaming from, too. Just throwing that out there. Early days. We'll probably find some problems. I'm having fun on this side. I get to have
hard stop.
Oh, we got a hard stop today. Oh,
I gotta go meet
and you put 700,000 links. All right. Yes, Glencore. Okay. Alberta UCP caucus has no business signing separation vote. Petition former premier Jason Kenney. Okay. Jason Kenney. Kenney interviewed Monday, said the party he helped create in 2017 and lead until 2022 was founded on the principle that it's committed to strong Alberta within a united Canada. Asked about the claim, Smith said in an interview CTV over the weekend that our UCP caucus members can sign whatever petition that they want.
Jason Kenney loves the caucus.
Jason Kenney says the government United Conservative Party caucus has no business signing a petition to force a vote on the province of quitting Canada. Also, Jason Kenney, back in 2021, Kenney backs Quebec's drive to be declared a nation. Says
isn't that interesting?
Declare itself a nation in Canada's constitution. In fact, he feels Quebec is leading the way for Alberta to assert its own powers and identity.
Oh,
really?
Isn't that interesting?
Tell me more.
That's very interesting. Now, I would just like to point out, okay, we've also got a video here. I'm just going to show it as a background thing while I talk about this. We had Stephen Harper and Jean Chrétien getting together to tell everybody how important it is for Canada to stay united. Now, I would just like to point out that Jean Chrétien, representing the Liberals, who would look pretty fucking bad on the world stage, and all of the money that they use to buy fucking votes would disappear. And if we're going to be brutally honest about Stephen Harper, if Alberta separates from Canada, the federal Conservative Party is fucking toast forever. They're going to be less relevant than Jagmeet Singh. So, of course, he is going to, like, nobody's asking the obvious question. Well, why would Stephen Harper be pro-Alberta being part of the Confederation? Well, it's because his party wouldn't fucking exist without it. So, there you go.
It would exist in some shape or fashion, would it not?
They'd be getting together with Elizabeth May and whoever the hell they picked to lead the NDP and sitting in like the back corner of the fucking lunchroom talking about the glory days of when people used to give a shit what they thought about things.
This will crater our economy. Edmonton city councilors say talk of Alberta separatism creates instability.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we're kind of just, yeah.
We're rehashing the same thing over and over again. Here's a picture. The groundhog saw its shadow today, and we have only 8 more months left. Months of Canada left.
Yeah, I thought that was amusing.
You want to show the Tim Houston video?
Oh yes. I mean,
Premier of Nova Scotia. Yeah,
this is exactly what we have to deal with here in Canada. This is who we're going to tie our wagon to.
We have the worst economy in North America. 60 out of 60 when you look at GDP per capita. So, so you look down the list, New York State, number 1, Massachusetts, number 2. The first province that shows up is Alberta, somewhere in the 15, 16, something like that. Just keep looking down the list. Mississippi, Alabama, keep looking down the list. West Virginia, keep looking down the list. At the very bottom, Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Maybe, just throwing this out there, you should let people walk around in the woods. What if you let people walk around in the woods, guys? Would that be something that might make people want to live there and do things there? And then I think this is the last one I want to show here. So this is a video that you kind of just have to see it to believe it.
So Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, is leading about 275 Albertans to think
275 Albertans. There's been 270. There were 275. There were more than 275 Albertans on the first day in Water Valley when there aren't even 275 people in that town.
that separation from Canada is.
I just call me old fashioned, but I don't know if I want to be taking economic advice from somebody who models their look after Fred Durst. Okay? Look, I get it. I get the message. Look, we got to have faith in Canada, okay? We got to keep this economy rolling.
Really a plausible idea.
These
Time
people.
to get the board. First.
Oh, yeah, here's the
A bit
board.
closer,
Let's
so
see.
you can-
Alberta separation. Okay? Now, dressing like the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, you really missed out a golden opportunity if you're going to talk about keeping things separated to maybe do an Offspring reference. But separation is spelled with 2 A's, not 2 E's.
Get a front row seat. I'm going to give this little band of
Again, the condescension, the never-ending condescension from these people. It's a great video. She should do these more often. Okay?
potato men trying to make deals with down south. Do you understand history at all? Do you understand what that's going to do to your oil?
All right. Let's look at these and let's break them down here. Economic development. So she says that it's going to stymie economic development. I think we've thoroughly debunked that over the last 2 weeks. Okay. Landlocked vulnerability. Point to Keith Wilson, who obviously was the first person you ever heard say that, saying that we're already landlocked, so nothing would change. The only thing that would really change is that we would actually have negotiating power, because we would say, hey, you guys have a pretty important couple train lines coming through here, And we can stop them at the border if you guys want to stop our stuff at the border. We actually would be in a position to say, let's do a tit for tat negotiation. Okay. Massive trans costs. Now, she's not talking about cutting off dicks in this case, which she seems to be somebody who probably does a fair bit. She's talking about transition costs, which are fine. They're just going to be a one-time setup. Okay. Fiscal challenges. She's kind of repeating herself in the economic development argument, but fair enough. Indigenous rights still have to be hammered out, but the way it is right now, it's ceded territory. Alberta's ceded territory, and there's a few different options that are all on the table. Okay. Pension comp. She's basically, her argument is that if you guys separate, you're not going to get your pensions anymore. Look, I don't know if you guys know anybody who say is like what we call snowbirds. They go down to Arizona for the winter, or Texas or Florida or wherever. They don't stop getting their pension the minute they leave the country. They pay it into that pension their whole working careers. And when they're in a different country, they continue to get that pension. Now, the only thing that would change is where that money would come from if and when Alberta takes over their share of the pension. And then trade, foreign trade. She's basically saying that all the agreements would be dead in the water. Like, kind of, but you've also got the option of just resuming the current trade agreements that are there. Like, you could just say, hey, you know what, CUSMA. Let's say CUSMA gets renegotiated exactly as it is, and when Alberta separates, we just say, hey, look, we've got this deal. We can keep doing this exact deal if you guys want in the States and in Mexico. Is that good? Okay, cool. Or you just, or maybe there's some that we're not interested in. But the point is that they're already laid out for every country that we have a trade agreement with. Maybe we don't want to get EVs from China, and we say, no, we're going to go our own way on that. Anyway, none of these are solid arguments. And nobody has been presenting any good reasons why Canada should stay united with Alberta, which brings me up to my next point. If you guys are enjoying this, next week, we've got a guy coming on that he and I are going to hash it out for probably half or most of the show, talking about the pros and cons of Alberta sovereignty. He's willing to come on. He's going to be on next Friday. That is the 13th.
Mashup 195.
And
market.
I know this is going to be the first time that there's going to be any sort of a debate between sovereigntists and federalists.
And I'm hopefully going to chair it in a way, or facilitate it in a way that he gets to speak, and I hold twos to not running over him like he runs over me on a daily, where he won't let me spit out two words. I'm going to try and get it so we can hear both sides. All right? That's what we're going to try and do.
Yeah. So
Because when twos gets rolling, I might as well just put my feet up, drink a coffee, and sit back. Because twos, it gets on a roll. You know what, though, twos? If I'm learning anything, the thing that drives you most nuts is when I don't give you credit for an original idea, or an idea that you believe you had originally.
I believe I had. I can tell you exactly when. I can tell you off the top of my head. When we did the Blue Collar Roundtable with QDM was on there, and we were talking about the 51st state idea.
I'm
and
just
I was
pointing
there
it
to
out.
steel man the 51st state. Just to hash out the idea. Yeah, that I was explicitly talking about it on that episode.
Twos, you're yelling twos. All right. Rapid fire here, folks. BC government appoints former RCP officer to bridge extortion communications. That's Premier David Eby and Nina Krieger, the Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General, have appointed Paul Dadwall to close any gaps between police officers and the community about work being done to combat extortion, especially in Surrey. Quoted, the advisory group will listen to community concerns, identify emerging issues, and relay them to law enforcement and government so people are heard, supported, and safe. They don't know what the problems are, I guess. It will also support the communication of information from law enforcement to the community. And then the second one to tie into this is Canada is losing control of a major city to gangster. Former, once again, I'll slide down here. In late January, Surrey City Council called for their community to be placed under a state of emergency. The extortion crisis is underlain by two problems that are worsening crime almost everywhere: else in Canada. Criminals send crudely worded demands for cash to homes or businesses, and if money isn't paid, the victim is met with violence. When the attacks were first starting in 2023, the BC RCMP circulated an example of what typical extortion letter looked like, a sheet of paper topped with the wording warning. It explained, "We are an Indian gang members. We want our share from your business-like protection money." The letter then adds, "We have links all over. Do not ignore us. It will affect you really bad." In January alone, Surrey police tracked 36 separate extortion attacks. The dual problems of lax immigration and toothless criminal justice system were probably best highlighted in December when Surrey police arrested 15 Indian nationals suspected of extortion-related crimes, only for all 15 to immediately claim status as refugees.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, you can't deport us. We're refugees.
So
And that's, yeah.
Surrey is, yeah. You remember us talking to, like, as bad as Surrey is right now, all the things about the tow trucks, and which we're going to get to, and Montreal and the gang violence there. So this is now the third, in my count, the third spot. Am I missing any that we've covered?
Toronto.
Okay. So,
well, that's the tow trucks.
Well, yeah. The three, right? The three? Tow trucks, Montreal, gang related, and now Surrey.
Yeah, let's do the tow trucks right
Sure.
now.
7 Toronto police officers facing charges related to tow truck violence. 7 Toronto police officers and 1 retired member of the service are facing charges related to violent incidents involving tow trucks and operators across the Great Toronto Area. York Regional Police announced Thursday the officers are accused of trafficking, leaking addresses to hitmen, and leaking police officers' addresses. The investigation also uncovered a conspiracy to kill a unit commander at the Toronto South Detention Center.
Yeah, this is pretty fucking dark. Do you remember when because we came up, we noticed this together.
Thank you.
We noticed that we keep seeing all of these weird articles about tow truck gang stuff and tow truck crime and things like that. And so for the past year and a half, we cumulatively have been saying, what the hell is going on with these tow truck companies? Why is this happening? What's the story? And then remember, CBC was right on the verge of exposing a whole bunch of it. And then they cut live to Prime Minister Carney buying some fucking croissants.
Yes.
Yeah. This apparently is now getting so dark that you have multiple members and former members of the Toronto Police Service abetting assassinations of and attempted assassinations of police officers and corrections facility heads, and it's getting.
Did you watch the new Matt Damon Ben Affleck police show?
Good Will Hunting?
No. The new one.
No.
This is basically what they're dealing with in the entire movie. They're 2 cops.
Okay.
And it's pretty much the plot of the movie. I mean, give or take.
Does he say Matt Damon?
First major medical group opposes gender transition surgeries for youth. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons has issued a broad recommendation against gender transition surgeries for youth, becoming the first major medical association in the United States to narrow its guidance on pediatric gender care. Recommends surgeons delay gender-related chest, genital, and facial surgery until a patient is at least 19 years old.
Yeah. $2 million lawsuit. $2 million lawsuit. See, that's why
The Rip is the movie I'm talking about, by the way.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
I think you're talking about RAPD, the one with Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges. That's the buddy cop movie you're thinking of, right?
No, that's not. Anyways, carry on, Tees.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is actually, people talk about like how they don't want American style healthcare. Here's one of the benefits. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying we should go for it. But when there are really big fuck ups, there are also really big financial consequences. When the Canadian healthcare system has a bunch of people who do a whole bunch of shit badly and people die because of it, or they have their lives ruined, they say, oh, that sucks. You get what you pay for, though. In the States, when you fuck something up badly, you're fucking paid.
Sorry, I got to go back to the towing. Natasha Gonik chimed in. Cliff's Towing just went out of business too. Would be interesting to see what happened there. Where is Cliff's Towing, Natasha?
I don't know. Maybe they just went off of cliffs. Did you
members.
just snort?
I can hear you today. You know how bad it's been when I'm realizing how bad the last 5 mashups have been when I've been trying to you're like, you're not getting the joke. I'm like, I can't even hear you. Like, I don't even know what Tuz is saying half the time. I'm trying not to mess it up. I can actually see and hear you today.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yes, members of the OPP Provincial Weapons Enforcement Unit and Grenville Detachment seized 46 firearms near Prescott last week in a 6-month investigation led by Ottawa Police, assisted by a couple others. 2 Ottawa residents face multiple charges.
Yeah. So this is the same guy who back in the day got arrested in 2022 with this. This is what he got arrested with in 2022. He get rearrested for the exact same thing. All right. And meanwhile, we've got our government spending how many billions of dollars trying to make. Fair enough. Tuesday, I think we all snorted on that one. We've got our federal government spending how many billions of dollars trying to take guns away from just regular everyday folk.
This is I'm not sure I fully understood the story, so I'm going to let Tuz obviously chime in, but it says Las Vegas Biolab raid possibly tied to California case, federal Chinese investigation. A suspected biological laboratory raided by Metro Police and the FAI may be connected to a similar incident in California where officials found infectious agents such as HIV and malaria. Shortly after before 6 a.m., Metro SWAT team served search warrant at a home on Sugar Springs Drive near Washington Avenue, Hollywood Boulevard, to search for possible biological laboratory inside the home. Investigators also located pathogen-labeled containers with labels such as dengue fever, HIV, and malaria, along with 1,000 mice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not all of them were alive. So what had happened was that this place, while also being a biolab, was this article doesn't have the picture of it. It was also an Airbnb. Because, hey, I mean, you know what? You got to pay the bills somehow. And so this Chinese biolab / Airbnb in Las Vegas had a bunch of issues where people who stayed there were complaining about the fact that they were getting sick, presumably with HIV and dengue fever. And then they looked into it more. And why does this Airbnb need so many mice? And then they raided it, and they basically found a Wuhan
lab in a house, an Airbnb,
in an Airbnb.
So I did understand the article correct. I'm like, is this literally what I'm reading? Like, you remember that story about the goat that they rescued because they were going to butcher it? Because you remember that story a couple of years ago? Yep. I'm like, this story kind of reads, obviously not identical, but I'm like, this is strange.
Okay, look, this is how bad it is for China and how poorly their economy's doing. That when they're conducting international espionage and weapons grade disease research, they have to have their covert facilities also double as Airbnbs. Like, obviously we need to support China because they're going through some shit right now, because you can't even have an international spy organization weapons lab research facility that isn't also getting supplementary income.
Comedian rips Minnesota venue after 6 sold-out shows canceled over backlash to Renee Nicole joke. She was the one killed by ICE officers. Minnesota Comedy Club abruptly canceled 6 sold-out shows by comedian Ben Bankus. So he made a joke, backlash on that, and they were removed.
And they canceled 6 sold-out shows. They were so upset about his joke about that woman who got shot by ICE. Now, Ben Bankus has been ducking my calls and texts and DMs and smoke signals. Every time he gets another show canceled, first off, every time he gets one show canceled, 2 more sell out. And I've been trying to get him on forever to talk to him about this. And I figured I keep thinking that it would be good to have him and Uncle Hack on at the same time to just talk
Holy
about
moly.
canceled shows. And
We'd break the internet that day, wouldn't we?
well, yeah, if Ben would ever respond.
I was supposed to have Ben coming on the podcast once upon a time, and then I assume he just got busy and was running around with those shows. And maybe I should try back on that. We'll circle back on him too. See if we can't get
All
it.
right. Sounds good.
You want to show the video about the Liberals not like being asked about the legal use of the Emergencies Act?
Yeah. Yeah, of course I do. This one's really fun. Okay.
Issues relating to human rights
Thank you. I
and
think
international law.
You've answered my question. I guess now that the Federal Court of Appeal has ruled that, in fact, your government trampled on those rights here
Okay,
at home,
I'm sorry.
I
I
want to
have
give you
to
the
cut you off.
opportunity to
Sorry,
say if you would like to change your
I'm going
opinion.
to suspend the meeting. Let's suspend the meeting for 5 minutes so that we can get back in order. Us to veer into other-
Won't even
Meaning that
handle
we're
the
not
question.
addressing
Won't even give the question a chance to be heard. I will give Ahmed Hussein credit there. I think that was Ahmed Hussein. I will give him credit there. He was really on the ball with that gavel. The second that question came up, boom, meeting adjourned.
Wind turbines failed Nova Scotia during the weekend cold snap. What that means for the grid as our reliance on electricity grows. While there were some localized issues and outages related to the cold on Sunday, our teams were able to avoid system-wide issues that could have required load shedding or proactive short rotating outages across the province, reads a written response from Nova Scotia Power. Many Nova Scotians were surprised Saturday and Sunday to be asked by their energy provider to avoid non-essential electricity usage during peak demand periods from 5 to 9 p.m. The Power Corporation warned this was there so they could not. Oh man,
Let me jump in.
Yes, spit
Let
it
me
out.
jump in. Okay, Nova Scotia has an estimated total electricity generating capacity of 2,700 megawatts. 600 megawatts is wind. Average daily demand in winter is 1,700, but it peaked at 2,481 megawatts. And while that was happening, wind was generating 350 megawatts during the day and 75 at night. So, yeah, wind isn't really going to solve all of our problems. And I get the fact that the rest
so
of
happy
Canada
that
wants to move in that direction, but we don't.
Whoa, in fairness, I'm sure we have people watching this from afar. I know all of Canadians don't want this. I think some parts of government want this incredibly bad, but most common sense folks, especially watching this show twos, wherever they're sitting, don't want this.
We've got a great audience with common sense folks, but we need to stop calling common sense. We need to start calling it rare sense. Okay.
Well, we got a bunch of rare sense folks.
We do have a bunch of rare sense folks, and they're awesome, but they're not the ones voting for the idiot politicians that make these decisions. And the idiot politicians that make these decisions get voted in by a whole lot of, well, I guess in this day and age, you could call it common sense folks.
10 men charged in France over rape, of a drug 5-year-old.
Yep. So the father put this kid into contact with these people who threw a gang rape party where they drugged him and raped the 5-year-old. Slightly good news in this article, though. At that same party, the dad got drugged and raped. So now it's
an awful story.
It is an awful story, but live by the pedophilic dick, die by the pedophilic dick.
Canada's economy is on life support and country is in recession watch, says economist. Recession watch, says economist, sorry. A new report from Rosenberg Research, Canadian economy on life support shows that despite interest rate cuts from a high of 5% in 2024, per capita GDP is still falling and the economy is growing at only 1% annually. Moreover, the housing and manufacturing sectors are struggling with home prices down to 2% year over year. Manufacturing, which heavily relies on U.S. trade, is down 5%. Quoted, "It's clear to me, unless the policy lags are just a lot longer this time around, that this is what 275 basis points of bank account rate cuts delivers the grand total of 1% growth economy. David Rosenberg, chief economist and founder of Rosenberg Research, told BNN Bloomberg.
Yeah, so everything in Canada is turning to shit. And the only part of Canada that's actually keeping anybody afloat is Western Canada. And they don't want to do anything to avoid fucking us over. Sean has apparently left and rejoined somehow. Let's bring Sean in, folks. Hey, Sean, welcome to the Mashup.
Well, I guess we're finding out what the new streaming platform does. It just kicked me, said I lost my connection. So there's that.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I'm
All
back.
Right. So it kicks Sean out randomly. But for those of you watching, does it do anything bad?
We're leaning heavily on the audience today to make sure that you keep commenting if you see anything odd about this show or if you're enjoying the stream and its current format, because moving forward we're gonna probably, I don't know, look at doing it on here more.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is an update to you may remember the goofy story we had about the guy who tunneled into the woman above him's apartment.
Yes.
So he was found guilty of break and entering and mischief not exceeding $5,000. Inside her apartment, he moved items, a shower curtain, the pantry door, and moving the socks and lingerie in her dresser drawers. So, yeah. Anyway, he's now going to be sentenced in the next few days. But he has been found guilty. Although he said that it was interesting. He defended himself in court. And he said that the evidence against him was circumstantial. The argument being that he didn't actually get caught inside the apartment. So how can you prove that he was inside the apartment, except for the fact that there's a tunnel between the two apartments with the fucking ladder? And he's basically like, anybody could have put that there.
Kevin or others. Yeah, Kevin said Two's feed is solid today. Are you seeing any issues off my end? That's just a question. You mentioned Two's. Now I'm kind of curious about mine as I get booted out. Carney and Pierre, I should say. I realize you're just visiting your riding, talking about Pierre, and Pierre responded, I realize you're just visiting Canada. Do you want to show that video?
It's given me the loading circle, so I guess not. But the gist of it is that Carney jumps in with what he thinks is a zinger on Pierre Poilievre, pointing out the fact that he's just floating in there. That was just CSIS letting you know they're watching. Yep.
They booted me out. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So he drops what he thinks is a huge zinger on Poilievre, saying that it's not even really his riding. He's just visiting. And then Poilievre jumps in and with the exact same thing about Canada rather than his riding. And there's standing applauses for the one joke on the one side and for the other joke on the other side. And everybody thinks it's a huge gotcha moment, and they're all right. Because Poilievre literally is just in there for the time being. It's already been announced that the guy who was in there before is going to go back in the next election, and he's going to parachute to somewhere the fuck else. And Carney, I don't think anybody's really planning on having him stick around Canada as soon as this whole PM gig is done for him.
Two's quick question. You're a guy on making sure the English is done right. Everybody keeps commenting Two's with an apostrophe.
Yeah, and you always write Two's with an apostrophe.
And you don't. Okay. So explain this to us all, because why is it just 2S?
Okay. That is more than one 2. So if we said mashups, like this is mashup 194. So there have been 194 mashups. That would be mashups like, I can only do read only. Well, here. All right. Let me try it like this. Here is what many mashups looks like. Okay. Now, if we were going to say that this is something that the mashup has, like the goofy news, we would say the ups goofy news. Okay. That's the difference. One is plural. The other one is possessive. Okay. So I am not property of the number 2, which would be 2 apostrophe S. I am many twos, which is 2S.
There you go, folks. That's been bugging me all the time because I did switch it to 2 apostrophe S. 2's turned
Yeah.
it back. All
Yeah,
right,
I did.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Makes more sense with an apostrophe S to me, but hey, what do I know?
Nothing,
You want
apparently.
to show the official portrait of Stephen Harper?
Yes. This is the official portrait of Stephen Harper. And if this picture looks familiar, it's because the exact same picture has been occurring on the cover of Mad Magazine for the past 100 years. You snorted again.
Yeah. I haven't seen Mad Magazine. Like, when was the last time you heard anyone even?
Oh, it's been a while. But like,
It's been a while. I feel like it.
Like you get to decide what your portrait looks like, and you're like, oh, I look like Alfred E. Newman got bought off of Temu, and you're like, good enough. How bad were the other ones that this is what Stephen Harper decided to go with? It's crazy.
Kevin says no more apostrophes. Sean is my favorite again.
That's okay. You know what? I'm gonna put you in a Russian tie the next time I see you, Kevin. Or as they say in other parts of the world, the Ukrainian victory.
Second recall petition against a member of the
A
Alberta.
Russian tie is a Ukrainian victory.
Second recall petition against a member of the Alberta legislature fails. Holy man. Okay. They were supposed to get 15,000 signatures. They got 2,200, and Angela Pitt ain't getting voted out. I mean, we've been following all the things and how this isn't going to work, but regardless, we keep updating you.
And we were the first ones to point out that despite the fact that all of that money had been earmarked for all of these recall petitions, none of it's really going to get spent, because the first thing you have to do is determine if there's enough to even bother counting them and vetting them. Because if there's only 2,000 and you need 15,000, it doesn't matter if every single one of them is legitimate or illegitimate. It doesn't change anything because they still don't meet that threshold. So you stack them up on your desk, you put a ruler next to it, and you count how many dashes on the ruler it is. And if it's not high enough, that's it.
Health Canada seals vaccine injury records for 15 years. Health Canada has locked away internal reports on vaccine and drug injuries for up to 15 years, citing the sheer scale of the records involved, according to documents tabled in Parliament. The agency blamed the backlog on the volume of the material moving through senior offices during COVID-19, the need for extensive consultations, parliamentary motions, and what is described as the requester's refusal to narrow the scope of the request.
Yeah. Officials said the request originally involved several million pages of records regarding vaccine injuries. Several million pages of records, which have now been sealed for 15 years. The crazy thing, though, about it is that by the time they actually get unsealed, we'll actually be at a point chronologically where we'll have an idea if there's any long-term side effects from the vaccine. Do you remember when they said there was going to be there's no long-term side effects? There's no long-term side effects. Like, motherfucker, you just invented this a week ago. How can you possibly tell me there's no long-term side effects? But yeah, even the short-term side effects, record sealed for 15 years, which is a totally normal and rational thing to do. I mean, the World Health Organization, which we all take very seriously. I have a picture of Theresa Tam up over here. I can't show you, but it's definitely there. The World Health Organization has said it's not a matter of if another pandemic happens, but when. And so we have to be prepared. We have to have all of the data in front of us so that we can make the most informed decisions on the best way forward. And in light of that, it's completely reasonable and normal to seal the fucking records for 1.5 more decades.
I expect nonetheless from them, if I'm being honest. You want to show the media producers video?
Yeah. Okay. So interesting thing. The video of this entire event is posted online, but they scrubbed this part when people pointed it out. And that's the interesting thing. So there's like a 7-second or a 17-second spot where this isn't in the video. But here, this is the Canadian Media Summit. Our very nonpartisan, reliable people who don't have an agenda and are above all things neutral.
And Prime Minister, know that every person in this room and the 180,000 people who work in this industry have your back, just as we know that you have ours.
What an odd thing to say.
Yeah. Once again, this is like, it's just confirmation. We've all known this. We've been talking about it, and they just said the quiet part out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Major aluminum discovery near Tisdale could reshape North America's aluminum supply. A massive aluminum deposit discovered near Tisdale could position Saskatchewan as a key player in North America's aluminum supply chain. The PEA confirmed the Thor project is a possible game changer for North America's aluminum supply chain. Located near Tisdale, contains an estimated measured and indicated resource of 49.5 billion tons of the material, including 6.8 billion tons of alumina, along with an additional inferred resource of 86.86 billion tons. The estimate covers just 23% of the overall property area, suggesting further expansion potential.
Yes. So, I mean, it's great news. It's mostly great news for Tisdale. The only problem they're going to have now is that they're going to have to update their sign to say, "Welcome to Tisdale, the land of rape, honey, and aluminum." Nothing? Okay. All right. Here. Look. This used to be the sign in Tisdale, Saskatchewan. "Welcome to Tisdale, the land of rape and honey." And now it's going to have to say the land of rape, honey, and aluminum. I swear to God, sometimes I wonder if you're actually from this province.
Another one of my fun things to do, folks, if you're wondering, is to not laugh at Two's jokes because he gets really annoyed by it.
It's not that I'm annoyed by you're not laughing. It's the fact that if you don't get a joke that you very much should, it worries me.
It's Don Cherry's birthday today. For
Yes,
some
it
reason, for some reason, yeah. Anyways, happy birthday to Don Cherry.
Yeah, and all you people out there, tell
You
him happy
people?
birthday.
You people. Yeah, that was a surreal moment on the podcast when I got to interview him. Full stop. I would love to interview him again. I would.
Well, I mean, we've tried, or at least I've floated the idea, and maybe you just dropped the ball, but we've tried to get him on a couple of the
No,
live-
I reached out to his team, and they said he wasn't doing interviews anymore. Whether, I don't know. I take that for face value. I don't see him on 50 other podcasts, so I assume that's legit.
Well, I mean, he did do that interview with Joe Warmington, but that was a really huge one offer. That was not a normal thing.
Goofy news. Now, I warn people, this is where we got 27 minutes before Tuesday's got to go, and I'm in the complete blank, almost starting immediately. I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to do something dangerous, folks. I'm going to give the reins over to Twos, and we're going to see what happens, because I didn't get through any of this. Prime Minister Carney launches new strategy to transform Canada's auto industry.
Yeah. Basically, instead of subsidizing the auto industry, he's going to provide rebates to people who buy them. Achieve a goal of 75% EV sales by 2035 and 90% EV sales by 2040. Now that flies in the face of Trudeau's thing saying we're going to be no more EVs after 2035. And it's a goal, it's not a mandate. So they're just, when you look at the finer points of the English, the apostrophes and whatnot, they're slowly rolling back not only the timeline, but the language. And if we think that, how many times have we covered stories about buses? This is insane. Here's the next one. This is Melanie Jolie,
Jolie.
who apparently now is becoming Automobile Barbie. She's talking about how wonderful this is. She says, despite global disruptions, Canada has led the automotive sector for over 158 years. With our new strategy, we're putting auto workers in the sector first so we can continue building the best vehicles in the world for the world. Nobody thinks that Canada builds the best vehicles in the world. Nobody. But also, so she said for 158 years, the first car was patented in 1886, which was 140 years ago. So that's a little bit unfortunate.
Do you expect anything else out of our politicians, though? They can't even do the simple research to find out when the first one was. Carry on. Yes.
All right.
Nenshi is taking.
Nenshi. This is the best headline I have probably ever seen. Nenshi taking horse dewormer drug ivermectin to help with rare chronic face condition. So, yes, apparently he has Morbihan syndrome, which is some rare face thing, and he is taking ivermectin, which is outside of its prescribed use. It's off-label or whatever. What do they call it when you can't use it for things it's not explicitly designed for? You know, the reason why they banned it for COVID back in the day. He's using the exact same reasoning to take the horse dewormer paste. So yeah, because he has Morbihan syndrome, on top of also having morbidly obese syndrome, and his party has moribund syndrome. Here is Naheed Nenshi literally talking about horse paste. If you go into the Wayback Machine, here's Naheed Nenshi shit talking horse paste, which he is now taking. All right. And here is Janice Irwin. Okay, Alberta, I hate that I have to say this, but please don't take horse dewormer. Thanks so much. Horse emoji. My. If it isn't the consequences of my own actions coming back to bite me in the ass.
Correct.
Okay. Now this, I don't know. I'm just going to show you guys this real quick rather than get into it. It's a good clip, but the gist of it is that anti-ICE activists have set up roadblocks in their communities so that they can control who comes in and goes out. They've established what you might describe as being a border. The anti-ICE protesters, in an effort to stop people coming in that they don't want to come in to do things they don't want them to do in their communities, have set up a border. No at all self-awareness. It's great. There was a whole article about this, but Not the Bee did a great job of summing it up, so I've got it in here. Former disgraced UCLA gynecologist, that's a guy who looks at, those things. James Heaps, who was convicted of sex charges and sentenced to 11 years in prison, will now have his conviction thrown out after a judge determined one of the jurors couldn't understand English. So anyway, there was a note that was given to the original judge saying that, hey, one of these guys on the jury can't understand English. I don't know how he got through the selection process, how the hell any of this happened, but the case for this sexual assault guy is being thrown out. From the National Post, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau says being uncoupled at 50 doesn't feel amazing. This whole entire puff piece about how difficult it is to be uncoupled at 50 and how uncoupling is totally different than divorce because it's way nicer and more gentle. What happened to that doctor she was banging? She was with that doctor.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. Guessing that he got sick of her shit. Like, could you imagine you have an actual PhD in something and you've got to spend your days talking to somebody whose largest mental pursuit has been bubbles? Hey, I wonder why that never worked out. Yes. The ShamWow guy. Do you remember the ShamWow guy?
Who doesn't remember the ShamWow guy?
All right. Okay. Well, you're going to love my nuts.
Hey, it's Vince. I'm running for Congress against this guy. Stop having a politician that's worse than Biden. That's discretionary funding. Instead, vote for me, a guy who's not half dead. I'm gonna soak up the swamp, clean the house, and pick up those liberal tears at the same time. I'm gonna slap chop the nuts out of the woke, making less blue-haired commies and more red-blooded Americans. Vote for me so I can represent you and the ones that can't stand up for themselves.
Vote for ShamWow! Paid for by Offer Vince ShamWow Shlomi for Congress.
Hey.
Yeah, that's an actual thing. That
so
is
ShamWow is literally running for Congress?
Yeah. ShamWow is running for Congress, and he's going to slap chop the nuts out of woke. Yes, that's an actual thing that's happening. Irishman, we're going to skip it this week. Sorry, Irishman. I get it. Follow you, you're delicious. Halifax taking part in federal gun buyback program amid Nova Scotia Premier's opposition. So Nova Scotia has said that they're not going to take part in this. And then the Halifax Regional Police said, oh, you're going to give us $830,000? Okay, well, yeah, we're going to do it despite the fact that our literal province said the fuck we are not. Posted February 3rd, 2026. 3 days ago. Sean, I'm not exactly sure. Was it 1 week ago that we talked about this on the mashup, or was it 2 weeks ago that we talked about this exact thing that the CBC is now finally getting around to covering?
I think a week, but forgive me on that.
All right. So we beat them by a week. The CBC, with $1.4 billion in funding from taxpayers, is literally would be days further ahead if they got their news from us. This is why we win awards.
Two guys who literally do this once a week and just cover things.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't have the 1.6 billion. Oh, that would be nice.
2 Memphis City Council members claim snow is fake. People were putting up TikTok videos. So people in Tennessee don't really know that much about snow. They don't really, the knowledge.
They were claiming snow is fake?
Yes. So there was people putting up TikTok videos of them trying to melt the snow with lighters. And because when they put it underneath the fire, it was just sublimating rather than melting. They thought, oh, well, this snow has to be fake. And then these counselors got in on it, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is obviously what is falling from our skies because it's definitely not snow. So, I mean, this is it. This is it. Snow is such a foreign concept to these people that they've now established their own conspiracy theory that, I don't know, the government is doing something weird with precipitation.
The government is doing something weird, but all you got to do is come to Lloydminster, Alberta, and you'll see snow.
Yep. You're not going to see much here. There's a tiny bit in the corner of the yard.
What did the temperature get there, twos, over the last week? How high?
I had the AC on yesterday in my car.
No, you did not.
I did.
Oh my
goodness. I did. Now, look, it wasn't like Selma Hayek 1995 hot, but it was definitely like Meg Ryan 2004.
You're a Meg Ryan fan.
No, I'm saying it wasn't really all that hot, but it was a little bit.
All right, carry on.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was hot. I'm just saying it was warm. Okay.
What did you think of Meg Ryan in the late 90s? Yeah, it was kind of warm. She's kind of warm.
Many of these units that you guys have done are move-in ready.
So 9 of the homes in Nunavut are moving ready. We just got the notice very soon. And all these units will have shovels in the ground in 2026. And as you know, it takes some time to build the units. And we're still waiting for the money from this budget bill.
So the first Canadian housing bureaucracy, CMHC, says that we need to build 500,000 housing units a year. And you said we've built 9.
9.
9
in none of it. So this is a billboard in San Francisco. Defensive Player of the Year.
Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco
Ice.
is evoking mixed reaction.
So the Super Bowl is going to be in San Francisco. So sleep face down or face up. And then somebody put up this billboard saying Defensive Player of the Year, Ice. It's just funny because, you know, it's offensive. Now, this one I was really mad about. I can't show you this video because somebody pulled the copyright hammer on it. But here's a picture of this guy who was in a boxing match with a toupee on, and he gets hit in the head, as people do in boxing matches, and the toupee goes flying.
Oh, that's too bad. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who have been wondering, like Sean, for the past couple weeks, why the hell do we keep covering William Shatner eating Raisin Bran in a car and the weird evolution that it's taken? Well, here's why.
Will Shadd here, bringing fiber to the masses with Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Duty calls.
Duty.
Will Shadd?
Every darn day.
Whoa.
Bye. Will Shadd in the house.
Wait, Will Shadd where?
Never mind. It's fiber time. Is that dog a Shih Tzu? Perfect.
Will Shadd on the car!
You're too low for this shit. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. High fiber, happy gut.
You know, I
I
hate saying Tooze is right sometimes, but when you first, I'm like, what the heck are we doing? Showing William Shatner eating Raisin Bran in a vehicle at a
And you
stoplight.
fast forward a few weeks, and it becomes
Tooze
a
is
Super
right.
Bowl commercial.
And Tooze is absolutely right. Well done, Tooze. Well done. That that only took 2 weeks. That has been 3 mashups. This is the 3rd mashup we've covered.
Yep.
Right? First
Yep.
one, I'm going, what the heck are you doing? Second one, I'm going, oh, that's interesting. Third, I'm going, this is brilliant. Tooze, you've outdone yourself this week. Okay? Full stop. There you go. There's your compliment for the day.
I think you might want to hold on to it because we've got probably the 2nd best headline I've ever seen. Can you read it for us, Sean?
Hospital evacuated after 8-inch World War I artillery shell discovered in patient's butt.
Yep.
That's
happened.
legit.
That happened. Mm-hmm.
A hospital in France was evacuated after a male patient arrived with a World War I artillery shell lodged in his butt.
In his butt. The old prison wallet was ready to make a massive withdrawal.
All right.
Oh, and I guess, oh, shoot.
You got 13 minutes, Tooze. Pick it up here.
Okay, well,
Pick
you
it up,
keep
Tooze.
filibustering for half a second. I've got to bring up the next set of articles.
Well, I'm coming back to the new platform. I'm enjoying it right now. We've only scratched the surface, I think, of what it's capable of. Other than getting booted, and like Natasha Gonik says, probably CSIS just saying hello. Other than that, it's been relatively smooth. There's a couple things on our end. It doesn't tabulate how many people are watching on X. I'm already seeing that, which is interesting to me because I've been kind of searching that out in the background while you've been talking. So that's interesting. But other than that, the user, like I even think Rumble on my end, I normally have to do that separately.
Yep.
And this is automatic. So I'm curious to explore this a bit more.
Pros and cons. Okay, here we go.
Cons.
All right. Canadian polls are garbage, folks. Here is why. Okay, look, I talk about this every once in a while whenever it comes up. Did Carney's speech make you think of him more or less favorably? And then much more favorably, somewhat less, and much less. Without any frame of reference, this is completely meaningless. And also, there's no option for no change. So, for example, I don't like Mark Carney at all. So my opinion of him, depending on what they gave me for options, would be the bottom one. Okay? Now, did I have seeing him more favorably or less favorably? Well, in that case, it's literally impossible for me to see him less favorably. So I would go with no change. So first off, they don't have a no change option. And secondly, there's no frame of reference for where these are moving from. Okay? Think physics. Vector needs a velocity and a direction. Okay. And that's the thing, is that with this, you don't know. There's no fucking true north in this. It's completely worthless. Canadian support arrival of more Chinese electric vehicles, poll suggests. There's nothing in there about people who just don't give a shit about EVs at all. Like, should we have more? Should we have less? What should we do with them? It's
10 minutes, too.
stupid. Okay.
I hate keeping you on track here, but you got 10 minutes.
This is how you do a good survey. This is a study just released that has covered political stances since 1988. Okay. And this picture is the top is right and the bottom is left. And so it shows that while left-leaning people have become, well, I mean, it's measured mathematically, but for the sake of this, the graph has gone down about 30% for left people. So the left has become 30% more left since 1988. The right has gone up what looks like maybe 1 or 2%. It's pretty much like you've got to really zoom in on that to tell it's not a straight line.
Correct.
It's like a 1 degree angle. And so when people are like, well, I don't know what happened to the right. Why did the right lose their minds? The right hasn't fucking moved. Okay. And then I'm just in the middle saying government sucks at everything and they should do as little as possible. But the people on the right haven't moved, and the people on the left have gotten progressively more crazy. Believe it or not, it seems like it might be kind of a far left idea to cut the dicks off of children. Like it's a big deal, Sean. Like when you go for that surgery in Canada, like no. If you go to gender reassignment surgery in Canada, you got to have somebody pick you up. Right? Because it's that big of a surgery that you can't drive afterwards. Do you know why? Because you're a woman.
I don't know. Somebody asked, oops, not thumbs up. StreamYard's ? StreamYard is the streaming service that me and Tooz have been using for
historically
190 mashups, probably.
Well, that's not, I don't know, probably like 150 mashups.
No, it's been more than that.
Because we used Riverside before that, and then
no, we used Riverside for literally one. That's all. One.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Nope.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You could be pretty sure all you want. This one I got you cased on. It was one. That's it.
All right. Okay.
Carry on.
All right. I just, you're wrong, but I don't have time to deal with it.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Recent poll suggesting that the Liberals have 50% support in Canada and Conservatives have 35%. And then you've got the NDP at 4% because they're not a serious party. Look at the age breakdown. There were it was under 5% of the people sampled were aged 15 to 34, and almost 2/3 of the people were 65 or older.
Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is the kind of thing you saw it, or at least you saw the potential for it in that recent poll about support for Western sovereignty in Alberta, where they specifically said that there was a huge discrepancy between federal support and urban support. And they didn't break down how much of each was in the survey. And so presumably, if you wanted to make a completely misleading survey, you could say, hey, it's this level and not say how many or which way. Okay.
6 minutes.
Okay. Illegal
Claire.
alien kills 4 Amish men in Indian semi-crash in the States.
Claire says you finally acknowledged this on YouTube. My apologies. I wasn't trying to stick away from YouTube by any stretch, but I'm glad you're watching on YouTube. Not really. YouTube kind of sucks. Maybe not for this streaming thing, but the amount of times I get booted off there, Claire, maybe there's a reason why I don't acknowledge YouTube that much on the stream.
5 minutes,
your
Sean.
thoughts.
Illegal alien in a semi-crash killed 4 Amish men in Indiana. Okay. I got to show you. You're literally not going to believe this. You're going to say there is no way that.
Do I need sound on for this or no?
Yeah, throw some sound on.
This video posted to social media shows the moments before a semi-truck was taken off the highway.
That is what the driver was looking through.
Both side windows of the cab smashed out and covered with duct tape, and the windshield severely damaged.
That's their mirror that they have attempted to red green together with duct tape. How a professional driver could get behind the wheel of that vehicle, deem it safe for operation after a pre-trip inspection and take it on the road is something that is just beyond comprehension.
Calgary-based company Southwest Bulk says the driver.
All right, we're in hurry up offense.
Hurry up offense. I tell you what, with that video, the best part about it was the red green reference for those of us that remember.
Oh, yeah.
That is wild.
If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Streetcar service resumes after removal of cars stuck in Queens Quay Tunnel. This is...
If you're new to the show, we've been showing the state of our highways.
Yeah.
We
could just...
Don't shush me. What?
Boom. That is... Oh, let's watch it again.
Let's
Sean.
watch that again.
Is that a car? Is that a car jumping off an overpass onto the oncoming traffic underneath it? Kablooey. Yes, it is. Look, folks, I get it. Things are different here. It's not the same. It's not where you came from. Okay. Look, I get it. In your country, everybody flies around on carpets, but here our vehicles are incapable. Okay.
Holy
they come
moly.
down. They come down.
Oh.
Yep.
Did they survive that? There's no way they survived that.
Not sure.
Carry on.
Sure. Okay. Experience Regina. Car flipped over at the sign. Hungary is banning LGBTQ and whatever else letters are on it today in schools. Boy swam out miles to save family swept out to sea. 13-year-old boy cited with saving his mother and two younger siblings after they drifted 9 miles off the coast of Western Australia.
Wow.
Not today.
Yeah, crikey.
Sorry, I should have had sound on for that, but
okay. All right. Other happy news. A guy was cleaning up his garage and he found a 10 mil socket. That's monumental. I'm so proud of you. Well done. Oh, we've got no, you can't. You're ripping out cords. This is nope.
I tell you what, folks, that right there is Mashup 194. We've been all over the place. You got the back end Twos screen. He can't. Twos, it's been a pleasure. Folks, there's no way to end 194 any better than what just happened. Hey?
Cheers.
All you need would be Jamie Sinclair snoring in the background. It'd be great. Twos, everyone, thanks for hopping on Mashup 194. We're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we look forward to seeing you next week when Twos is going to debate on whether Alberta should stay or go Canada. Twos, any final thoughts from the back of the screen?
Having puppies is awesome, folks.
We'll catch up to you next week, folks.
Okay.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup. Welcome to the Mashup.